This is Christopher John Bjerknes. It is May 10th, 2025. I'm going to be explaining the KABBALAH of the war between India and Pakistan. I'm the world's foremost expert on this subject, as I'm going to demonstrate to you. I predicted everything that is happening today back in 2006 on my blog, jewishracism.blogspot.com. The enemy had it taken down, but fortunately in 2013, I published an archive of my blogs. You can also find them on the Wayback Machine, going to the very day when I first published them. So you can, please do go ahead and check it and assure yourself that everything I'm going to show you is 100% true, because it's going to blow your mind. I'm also going to be discussing my somewhat mystical abilities to see the future. Anyone who has been following my work for any length of time knows that I'm the only person in the world who has the ability to predict future events with 100% accuracy. And I've been doing it for 30 years, and I haven't talked about it much, but it relates to my knowledge of the enemy's prophecies, which it utilizes as its plans. But something I'm going to get into today is something to do with Norwegian mysticism that I inherited from my father, that he inherited from his father, and so on, going all the way back. I come from a very famous Norwegian family. I'm a direct descendant of Leif Erikson and Eric the Red. My family includes many internationally famous people of very high stature, including Carl Anton Bjerknes, his son Wilhelm Bjerknes, and Wilhelm's son Jacob Bjerknes. We have a tendency to form these dynasties of super geniuses. And I say that with all humbleness, but it's a fact. I mean, it's a tested fact. I have a tested IQ of 176. Those men I just named are internationally renowned mathematicians, physicists, and pioneers of weather forecasting. Please feel free to vet all that and check it out. I have famous people in my immediate family. And I'm going to explain why all that is significant to you, not just to me. Bragging, my old man used to say self-praise stinks, but it's necessary because there are scumbags out there continually ripping off my work and trying to take credit for it. One of those is a lowlife named Adam Green. I pledge to now expose him at the beginning and ending of my presentations, because he continues to shamelessly steal my work despite my efforts to persuade him to start acting in a reasonable and responsible fashion. I just caught him yesterday stealing my insights that Trump is playing the role of Armilus and is setting up a war with Messiah, son of Joseph, Benjamin Netanyahu. I was the first one in the world to identify Netanyahu as Messiah, son of Joseph. Adam Green argued with me when I explained that insight to him. And I explained to him the Sefer Zerubbabel and how this relates to Armilus. And just recently, I was pointing out that Donald Trump is playing the role of Armilus. And I'm going to demonstrate to you that I have the ability to see the future in the same way that I remember the past. And this relates to the philosophy of the Eleatics, that everything in the universe coexists. And consciousness is a structure within the universe that is generated by a higher mind, a higher intellect within our brains. And that higher intellect draws from the structures that were created as memories when events happened. But some of us also have structures in our minds that anticipate future events. This is referred to as intuition or premonition. But the Old Norse referred to it as the Ord, or the weird, as the Anglo-Saxons came to call it. And it relates to our mystical ability. Some of us of Norwegian descent have this mystical ability to see the future in the same way that we can recall memories of the past. And that's because these structures are built into our brains as part of the ultimate structure of the universe, as I'm going to be explaining in future presentations. I think you'll find it very interesting. I know there are others out there who have this gift. Most people don't. Some people don't even have an inner voice or an inner dialogue. But I do. And I've demonstrated my ability to do this very publicly for 30 years, predicting future events with great 100% precision and 100% accuracy over and over again. One of those things that I was talking about is that Trump is Armilus. Armilus has two heads. Those two heads represent the double-headed eagle. Immediately after I said that, I found proof that Trump was being presented with a modified presidential seal that showed the double-headed eagle. And a few days after I had discussed all this, the White House itself published a picture of Trump with the double-headed eagle. After I explained all this, the press began reporting about how this relates to the prophecies of the Antichrist and to Armilus. After I had done all that, and after I had done all that, this lowlife Adam Green starts ripping it off, and I knew that he would. And I'm obliged to expose him for doing that. I tweeted about this. I'm again trying to persuade this scumbag to stop stealing my work. If he is going to copy me, he has to credit me as his source. If he refuses to do that and refuses to just shut up instead of parroting me over and over again, as he's been doing for many years now, I'm obliged to keep exposing what a thief he is, stealing my work, that he's a liar who has tried to smear me with lies, and that he is an infiltrator in this movement, trying to gain credibility by stealing my work, stealing my thunder, and then misleading people in his perverse anti-Christian cult, like a Pied Piper, like a Judas goat, into their own destruction. So let's have a look at Green stealing my work. And he has his Jewish chutzpah of stealing my work as I'm calling him out for it. He has no self-awareness of how he is completely discrediting himself and exposing himself as this fraud over and over again, and making it so easy for me to demonstrate what a fraud he is, what a liar he is, and what a plagiarist he is. So look at his face. Look at how excited Adam Green is to be stealing my work.
Cartoon, I think. The storm, Trump turning on Israel, possibly the leader of Edom in Europe, the Armilus character, is the one who kills the Messiah, son of Joseph.
He stole that directly from me, as I'm going to show you, as I posted in those tweets. As anyone who has been following my video presentations knows, I was the one who just said that Trump is possibly playing the role of Armilus against Messiah, son of Joseph. Netanyahu, probably immediately after this presentation, I'm going to be doing a fuller presentation about that and how it relates to Sefer Zerubbabel, and as I've shown Avkat Rochel, how I explained all this back in 2006. And this also relates directly to my insights and my foresight and my visions of what was coming with India and Pakistan, and India becoming an ally of Israel, and they're trying to gin up a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. I'm going to show you that I said exactly all that was coming 20 years ago. I tried to warn people. I tried to get your help to prevent it, and it's happening today. And I want you to be aware that I have this gift to do that because I am warning you about what's coming next, and what's coming next is our extermination. So let's get back to this jackass Adam Green, who continues to perpetually and habitually try to steal credit for my insights. And even as I'm so openly accusing him, he does it. It's almost like a mental illness he has to pretend that he's me and to keep trying to rip off my work and take credit for his grift, where he's always trying to beg for money so that he can continue to parrot my insights.
Also, keep that in mind.
Look at his face. Look at how excited he is. He's pretending that he has this great insight all of a sudden, and all he's doing is ripping off my work.
Possibly the leader of Edom in Europe, the Armilus character, is the one who kills the Messiah, son of Joseph. Also,
let me turn up the volume on this so you can hear this perpetual plagiarist more clearly ripping off my work.
But the leader of Edom betraying Israel, and then the
anyone who's been following me knows that these are the exact things I've been saying in the previous 2 weeks that he is just shamelessly ripping off from me.
Cartoon, I think. The storm, Trump turning on Israel, possibly the leader.
Let me make it even louder. The weird is trying to keep Adam Green from being heard stealing my work.
Edom in Europe, the Armilus character, is the one who. Cartoon, I think. The storm, Trump turning on Israel, possibly.
Look at that. Look at him explode
of,
with excitement just as he's about to start ripping off my work.
The leader of Edom in Europe,
he's trying to remember what I said.
Character is the one who kills the Messiah, son of Joseph. Also, keep that in mind. But the leader of Edom betraying Israel, and then the rise in anti-Semitism of Edom with Kanye and Elon.
All these things are things that I had said that he's directly parroting from me.
All these rabbis and all these Christian Zionists say that the rise in anti-Semitism is a sign of the Messianic age. Rabbis say that the rise in anti-Semitism is a sign that their redemption in Moshiach is near. Liam says, "Hail Armilus."
No, Christopher John Bjerknes said that Trump is pretending to be Armilus, and deceptive and deceitful Adam Green is once again trying to steal credit for my insights. I suspect he's planning to do shows about this where he's going to parrot exactly what I've said and try to take credit for him as if he has a right to steal my work. So you can see that I was talking about all this on May 4th before him when he started copying me yesterday, May 9th. And I've been exposing him. I talked about this double-headed eagle at the White House that came out after I said that Trump is Armilus with the double-headed eagle. And again, I forecast all these things. And then right after I talk about it, all the evidence and the proof comes out. And it's like that with everything I say, everything I've been saying for the past 30 years. right after I say it, or when I predict it to happen, it happens, and more evidence comes out to prove that I'm right. And there's this whole slew of these really vile, wretched, horrible people who continually rip off my work and lie about me and try to steal my thunder and steal credit for what I've achieved. But I want to start to share with you how I'm able to do this gift that I have. And if there are young people out there who sense that they have this gift, I want to encourage them and help them develop it within themselves. Again, we Norwegians were Vikings and seafaring people who had to hunt and fish and were always at war and had to anticipate dangers. And we had to look forward and decide whether to go straight ahead to the left or to the right to find game, to find fish, to anticipate if we're going to encounter an enemy and have to do battle with it and anticipate the enemy's strategies. All this gift of intuition and foresight and premonition was selected for among us and bred into our DNA. And our family has been talking about this quietly from father to son for many generations, I suspect going back at least as far as Eric the Red. And this is inherent in the beliefs of the Norse. And this, when I was a kid in Oak Park, Illinois, down the street, there was a little tiny corner shop called Wilson's. And it sold candy and it sold soda pop. And across the street from it, there was a little butcher shop that sold delicious kosher dill pickles out of a barrel that were homemade. And both of these places, you could go and buy single bottles of Royal Crown Cola, glass bottles that you could pull out of the case and pick one at a time. And in those days, RC Cola had a promotion where under the cap, there was a cork to cover it up, or later a little plastic sleeve to cover it up. But inside the cap, sometimes in a very small percentage of them, there would be one that was a nickel that said 5 cents on it, one that was a dime that said 10 cents on it, and one, the best one, that was a quarter that said 25 cents on it. And they were rare. But if you got one and you scraped off that cork or plastic covering and you had that cap, you could give it to the store and they would give you a nickel, a dime, or a quarter, depending on what you had. And I always would get these premonitions when I was out playing with my friends that if I went to Wilson's and I bought a bottle of RC Cola, I would get the one that had that special cap and it would pay for my pop. And whenever I had those premonitions and I went to Wilson's or I went to the butcher shop to get a dill pickle and a bottle of pop, every single time I would hit with a 25-cent bottle. And it would always amaze my friends. I still have them as witnesses of all this. And that was how one of the early ways, this is when I was 4 or 5 years old. Back then, little kids could go out and play without helicopter parents around all the time. Until the street lights came on. And I had that ability, and it would always amaze people. I was always able to do it. I was able to do it as a very small child. People would ask for my advice, knowing that I had this gift. Another story I like to tell, I used to have a friend whose family were the top echelon of the Chicago mob involved with the Teamsters. And when I was around 21, I guess it was, we went out to Vegas and we were sitting out by the pool, flirting with the girls, having fun. And I told him, we're going to go through the casino to get to our rooms and watch for the first roulette table that you see, and it's going to hit 13 black. And I told him that over and over and over again. And eventually we put on our flip-flops and wrapped towels around our waist and clotted through the upper tier that looked over the pit of the casino. And then I stopped them and I said, watch that roulette table. Bam, they spun it and it hit 13 black. And he got all pissed off at me for not placing a bet. That was his biggest concern. And he was always both mystified and terrified at my ability to do things like that. About the same time, I had another friend, and he liked to take dumpster bags and fill them with oxyacetylene and then bring them out to the schoolyard and put a fuse on it and blow them up. And I warned him, the next time you do that, it's going to explode as you're filling it. And I tried desperately to talk him out of ever doing it again. And the very next time he did it, he wouldn't listen. It exploded in his face. It put an imprint of his zipper on his groin, and it blew out the windows of his garage. But the reason why I'm relaying these stories, and just a couple years ago, my daughter took a card out of a deck and held it against her chest and asked me to guess which card it was. And I told her to envision it in her mind and think hard about it. And then I told her it was a 7 of diamonds. And she was shocked, and she turned it around, and it was a 7 of diamonds. Anybody who's known me knows that I have this gift. When I started, my father never explained or discussed it with me. He wanted to see if I had the gift and learned it on my own. And I was the only one in my family who had it. And then I was talking to him about it, and then he explained that he had done it all his life. His father had done it all his life, and this went back generation through the males in our family, going back as far as anyone could remember. And he related how it related, and the Anglo-Saxons picked it up. He was a teacher of English literature and extremely well-educated man, had hundreds and hundreds of college credits, and worked on his PhD at University of Chicago. And he revealed that this is in our blood. It's been in our blood forever. And I have always used this gift to try to help other people, just as I tried to help my friend to not blow himself up. And just as I did not use it for my own benefit to make money at that casino in Las Vegas with my friend, whose family was very big up in top of the Chicago mob. Very cool people, really good, classy, very cool people, very fun people to be around. I don't do it for my benefit. I do it for your benefit. And I'm trying to warn you good people that we are in imminent danger. And I'm going to be talking about some of those dangers if I get a chance to do a video right after this, relating to how if Trump is really playing the role of Armilus, how that's likely to play out and how that will lead to our extermination in the name of fighting the enemy based upon these prophecies that I, not that perpetual plagiarist Adam Green, has been talking about since 2006 very publicly. And I taught to that scumbag who now tries to take credit for my insights and research and knowledge. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. And again, I'm going to get more into this in the future because I do want to encourage young people who feel that they have this gift to realize that the universe is mystical and that there are physical explanations for how this functions, how these structures are incorporated into our brains, because we are active structures in this coexisting universe in which past, present, and future all coexist forever. And that just as we have memories in our brain to direct the movements of the matter that composes us as a projection and an extension in this manifold of matter throughout this coexistence in the universe, we also have premonitions in our heads, at least some of us have, that enable this structure to fulfill itself throughout this timeless universe. And I know that's hard for people to conceptualize, but I'll try to find examples of it in nature to help teach you about all this. I've observed, I spend a lot of time in nature. I've observed that many animals have this so-called weird. This is the Norwegian for it. And like I'll watch in binoculars, I'll watch a mountain lion perched up on the top of a mountain lion, and it looks around and it searches for something to hunt and eat, and it looks around to avoid any potential dangers, bears or wolves or whatever would pose a threat to it, or anything that is violating its territory. And I think it has this same sense that I and a few other people have of this weird. It is trying to sense and see the future in the same way that we sense and recall the past. Everyone has that ability. Not everyone has these intuitive structures in their brain that enable them premonitions and the ability to visualize the future in the identical way that they visualize the past in order to direct them in the present. And I can see mountain lions, bobcats, black bears, coyotes, especially predator animals, seem to have this gift of being able to decide which direction to go, what path to follow, how to anticipate where to get water, where to get food, what to do, when to bed down, when to hide, when to stalk. And I think that many animals who evolved in a similar way that my ancestors evolved also have, you can call it a gift if you want. It is what we are. And the Anglo-Saxons and the Old Norse were very aware of this. This is not something that I invented. And again, it's been something that's been in my family generation after generation. And I was the only one entrusted in my family by my father, by my old man, with this knowledge. I developed this gift on my own and independently realized all this, and then told my father about it. And he explained to me that this is part of my genetic heritage that's been passed down. Weird, and this is where the English word weird comes from. And this is why native English speakers, when something happens that's fatalistic or of destiny or unexpected or odd, they say, oh, that's weird. This comes directly from this concept of the weird. Weird is a concept in Anglo-Saxon culture roughly corresponding to fate or personal destiny. The word is ancestral to modern English weird, whose meaning has drifted towards an adjectival use, as in an adjective with a more general sense of supernatural or uncanny or simply unexpected. My old man and I always referred to it as mystical. And I always told people that I'm not religious, but I am mystical. The cognate term to weird in Old Norse is, and I don't even know that pronunciation, perhaps somebody can help me out with that, with a similar meaning, but also personified as a deity, anglicized as Urd, one of the Norns in Norse mythology. The word also appears in the name of the well where the Norns meet. So if that interests you, I strongly encourage you to look into that. And now I'm going to prove my gift to you, which I give to you regularly, despite the scumbags like Adam Green who try to steal credit for my weird and fortuitous and prophetic ability to see the future and to try to warn you about it. It's clear that they're controlled opposition and that I'm doing this in good faith because what I told you 20 years ago is happening now. And I not only told you about it, I screamed from the rooftops. I shouted as loud as I could that we have to do something to prevent all this. And just because I have the gift to see the future doesn't mean that I can change it, that I can modify it. Being able to see the future, and this has been a painful lesson all my life, does not necessarily mean you have the ability to amend it or modify it. The future already exists, but my struggle in exposing the future and letting you know about it is also a part of this structure of the universe, and it is a necessary part. And sometimes the weaving of these threads of matter through what we are taught to perceive of as time and space, the extension of matter throughout this manifold, produces effects in the future and does alter future events. All the way back in the 90s, I was altering events with presidential forces, with Clinton and Gore, for example. I could tell that they were reading what I wrote during their impeachment proceedings against Clinton, and I have been able to shape and change world events all this time. I know that the intelligence agencies pay very careful attention to my predictions and what I say. And I'm going to show you why in a moment, because what I say is 100% precise and 100% spot on accurate 100% of the time. So I am sharing this gift with you. And part of why I'm doing it is to warn you that the next phase in this is their effort to exterminate us. We can't simply talk about this. I can't simply teach this to you. We have to act to save ourselves. We have to be like the mountain lion, perched on top of the mountain, trying to foretell its destiny and finding a way to survive, finding which path to take down that mountain so it can find game to eat, water to drink, avoid enemies. And we have to do the same. And I am ardently trying to convince you that action has to be taken immediately to preserve ourselves so that we can survive this. So let me show you, just related to Pakistan. You can go through my archive and you can search for China, you can search for Armilus, you can search for Israel, Saudi Arabia, Palestinians, and you're going to find every time my predictions were exactly accurate. I was describing exactly what prophecies they were going to use and try to fulfill. When I read the Sefer Zerubbabel, I had a very strong premonition and intuition that this was what they were going to engineer, and I acted upon that premonition, and I warned everyone in the world about what was coming on. I included the full Avkat Rochel. I described the Sefer Zerubbabel in my book, The Manufacture and Sale of St. Einstein. I talked about Hitler being this Armilus figure, this Messiah, son of Joseph. Armilus is the Gentile Messiah, son of Joseph. Today, that is Donald Trump. That was Cyrus. Today, the Jewish Messiah, son of Joseph, on the Joseph branch of the Ashkenazi of the Jewish lineage, is Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu is a direct descendant by his own declaration of the Gaon of Vilna, who proclaimed that in his generation he was the Jewish Messiah, son of Joseph. The Gaon of Vilna explained that there is a Gentile Messiah, son of Joseph, and there is a Jewish Messiah, son of Joseph. And I have the insight that the Gentile Messiah, son of Joseph, is Armilus, the prince and guardian angel of the mixed multitude, who leads them into this disastrous end times war. This is what the Christians call the Antichrist, and it is Donald Trump. And shame on that vile, wretched scumbag, Adam Green, for trying to steal that insight from me for use in his grifter, perverse, anti-Christian cult. Shame on that shameless scumbag. I hope that people challenge him on his vile actions, and he just won't stop. He just refuses. What would it take for him to simply acknowledge that that I am his source for this? Why won't he do it if he's not controlled opposition, trying to steal my thunder and trying to keep people from seeing my work where I provide the solutions and lead you towards victory, whereas he is a perpetual defeatist trying to lead you into defeat. So in my blog, and you can verify this again, it is in archive.org. It's called, I think you can search for it by archive Jewish racism as one word.blogspot.com. Back in August of 2006, I was writing about the Sefer Zerubbabel. I described Armilus, and I related to what's happening today. Racist Jewish leaders are planning revolutions and civil wars worldwide. I predicted the Arab Spring. What they have done to destroy Iraq, they will do in America. The Hebrew Bible instructs Jews to pit brother against brother, as in the American Civil War and in Iraq, where Kurds and Sunnis and Shias were fighting each other. And in the strife, racist Jews are trying to foment between Sunni and Shia Muslims, between the Saudi Arabians and the Yemenis and Hezbollah and Iran, as I've been explaining for 20 years, I alone, and Pakistanis and Indians, etc. I foresaw 20 years ago with this gift, this ability to envision the future, that they were going to gin up a war between Pakistan and India. And not only that, I envisioned that they would make Israel an ally of India. You can find this exact blog in the Wayback Machine. If you use the Wayback Machine and go to Jewish Racism as one word .blogspot as one word.com and look in the archives for the exact date, August 9th or 18th, 2006, for my article, Sefer Zerubbabel, you can see that this is authentic and you can vet it for yourself. But it gets better. I have about a dozen quotes in the Old Testament where it talks about everyone killed one by the sword of his brother, and these brothers' wars that they ginned up among the Egyptians, etc. And I was talking about Mahmud Ahmadinejad play acting as the Persian king of Jewish apocalyptic mythology as King Shiroi. And I was the only one in the world talking about this. Adam Green is such a fraud when he pretends that he's just reciting what other people have been saying. These are my insights and my insights alone. He doesn't have the right to steal them from me. And it's a shame I have to be obliged to expose this creep, this weirdo who keeps copying me and pretending he's me. He's such a freak. It's disgusting that such a creepy figure has latched onto me like a leech. He's just a parasite trying to suck everything he can out of me, and it's disgusting. It's gross. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want it, and I want him to stop, and I hope that you will encourage him to stop it. All he's doing is discrediting himself and showing what a lowlife he is, and he does it for year after year. I talked about what was going on, how they were going to try to expand to the Litani River in Lebanon. and how it related to the tribes of Asher and Naphtali, and how they were always just trying to fulfill this ingathering in violation of Jewish prophecy for greater Israel. I was the one most prominently talking about greater Israel way back then, and the Christian Zionists and how they are usurping the United States. There were a lot of us talking about that, especially Ted Pike back then. And Ted Pike was warning us how they were going to try to steal our freedom of speech, and was leading us to keep that from happening. Racist Jews are spreading their message of hatred, war, and genocide around the globe. This is from my article. I don't know if these dates are before or after. It was around August 18th. Apartheid America and Racist Profiling. I was talking about the Israeli genocide of the Lebanese. How they were scapegoating Muslims and violations of our fundamental rights. How racist they are. I was so viciously attacked then for calling Jews racists. I had a website called JewishRacism.com, and everybody was trying to convince me not to use that, to not call Jews racists, and to call Jews Zionists or communists or Shabbatarians or Frankists or anything but Jews. And I was the only one out there. Well, I wasn't the only one, but I was strongly and academically and scholarly expressly stating Jews when Jews was the proper term in the context. And I was never one of these people who tried to use euphemisms to hide the fact that I was talking about Jews as a historical people. For 2,500 years. And I caught a lot of heat for it. And now it's obvious to everyone, thankfully. I was calling out the Christian Zionists long before Adam Green started to parrot me. And I talked about how they were plotting to destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and Dome of the Rock and build their Jewish temple on the site so that they could rule the whole world from Jerusalem, my trademark lines that Adam Green parrots. But let's try to stick to Pakistan, because there's so much in this archive that I predicted everything that's happening. Racist Jews are spreading their message of hatred, war, and genocide around the globe. They will try to incite a war between Pakistan and India. They will promote. Racist Jews are spreading their message of hatred, war, and genocide around the globe. They will try to incite a war between Pakistan and India. They will promote an alliance between Israel and India, though they have planned to exterminate the idol-worshipping Hindus for thousands of years, and will provide both sides with weapons to destroy one another. Racist Jews would love to see millions of Pakistani Muslims and Indian Hindus massacre one another with nuclear weapons, just as they applauded and sponsored the prolonged war between Iraq and Iran, in the hopes that the senseless violence would take more innocent Goy life. War, segregation, racist hatred, and genocide are the Jewish agenda. Muslims are the primary target. Christians and Hindus will be next. We have a moral obligation to oppose the racist Jews' desire to make America an apartheid state. Do we really want to sponsor the sponsors of racism in American media? I foresaw in 2006 that they would try to create a renaissance, a rebirth of Nazism and anti-Semitism to fulfill their messianic apocalyptic prophecies. I foresaw that they would gin up racism in America to pit us against one another and to try to establish some kind of apartheid system in America, which we see being manifested. And I expressly stated that they would make an alliance between Israel and India that now exists. There was no one on earth talking about this in 2006 save me. I was the only one, and I was doing this to warn you about what is happening today. I saw what is happening today in my consciousness, in my mind. I described it to you exactly in precise 100% correct detail in 2006. And you can verify this by this archive I posted in 2013, long before these events began to transpire today. And you can verify this on the Wayback Machine to the exact blog when I initially posted this as Apartheid America and Racial Profiling on or about August 6th, 2006. Note that the Jewish state would like to scapegoat the Kurds for the war the Jews of Israel are going to start between the Kurds, Turks, Syrians, Iraqis, Iranians, and eventually the Jordanians, Saudis, Egyptians, Lebanese, Sudanese, Ethiopians, Pakistanis, etc. I was warning about the fact that the Turks would be used to move down through Lebanon and into Syria and take over Syria. I foresaw all of that. I warned about it. Perhaps I'll just go through this same archive again someday to demonstrate the fact that I tried to warn you all about that. I tried to warn you all about the fact that the Armenians were going to lose Nagorno-Karabakh to the aggressive Azerbaijanis. All of the things that have happening, I foresaw. I warned about the fact that the House of Saud are crypto Jews, and that there would be an Arab Spring, and I named the nations that would fall in the Arab Spring. And you can do it yourself. You can go through my archive and look at that, and someday I'll get around to showing you all that so that you have faith in my predictions that they are about to try to exterminate us. September 28, 2006, how war can spread. If the U.S. and or Israel attack Iran with a nuclear weapon, it is possible that the U.S. and or Israel will also detonate a bomb in Israel, and Israel will blame it on Pakistan and Syria. Israel will then unload its nuclear arsenal on Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, etc. India will then strike Pakistan, and an exchange will begin, which will draw in communist China. I also predicted 20 years ago, and I was the only one in the whole world talking about this, that China would come in on the side of Pakistan. And you can see it even on X now. There's a slew of tweets by Chinese showing their support through Pakistan. This supposed ceasefire that Trump is taking credit for, Pakistan wasn't prepared for this fight. Pakistan needs time to develop its plans, to arrange for its nuclear arsenal to attack India, to just set up its lines of defense, to set up its logistics, to move its troops around. China's doing the exact same thing. So what Trump is doing is buying time for the Pakistanis and the Chinese to set up for a really good war with India. India was much more prepared for all this, took this all seriously. And you can bet your ass that Trump and the U.S. government is supplying India with satellite imagery of everything the Pakistanis and Chinese are doing to ensure that India believes that America is its ally, but America is controlled by the enemy, and it will betray and sabotage the Indians. You can bet the Chinese are supplying the Pakistanis with satellite imagery and intelligence. The Russians are supplying both sides with satellite imagery and intelligence, and they are setting up this brothers' war where they annihilate each other exactly as I predicted. I named the nations. I explained the process that would take place. I envisioned all this 20 years ago, and I did my damn best to try to warn all you people that this was coming and to try to elicit your help in heading all this off and preventing it. I am still in this process 20 years on trying to head this off. I was the only one on the internet screaming that there needs to be an effort by the international community to bring this to a halt, to end this, to engage in negotiations, to arrive at an equitable settlement to this centuries-old conflict. And I was pointing out how the powers, the major powers instead, were egging this on and setting this up. And I hope it's not true, but I envision that Trump's ceasefire is a farce to buy time for these powers to set up and align their militaries to have a real go at it. But there is a chance that peace can be brought about, and I am wishing strongly that peace will prevail. Very often when I issue these warnings, it exposes what people are doing, and they are forced to alter their course of action. I had that effect. Exposing what they were planning to do to the Iranians. I gave the exact dates, who was involved, and after I said it, the CIA exposed it and prevented an attack on Iran. And I've done that several times. I warned the Iranians within days of the two attacks that the Israelis had planned. I was the only person in the world to warn the Iranians within a day or two of when it was that the Israelis were going to attack. I told them to set up their defenses because it was coming. And back in 2006, I told you that India and Israel would become allies. They are now allies. And it's this Hindutva party that is Zionist, that is aligned with Zionist Benjamin Netanyahu. They have the same religious, racial, blood, soil, and religious belief system, and they're helping one another, but Israel always betrays its allies and always sets them up. The Indians are idolaters. They worship the sacred cow, the golden calf. The Israelis despise them. They want to wipe them out for the benefit of their gods, and the best way that they can do that is by pretending to be their allies. North Korea may strike South Korea and or Japan, or the U.S. itself might attack Japan. I was the only one warning that the U.S. would betray its allies for the benefit of Israel, and they would sabotage all our alliances. And when Donald Trump came along, I warned that he was going to be the one to try to break up NATO and destroy the Western alliance. And I was warning about that explicitly 10 years ago before he became president the first time. The U.S. would then attack North Korea and China, which would bring in Russia with a preemptive attack on the U.S. and Western Europe. Again, these are all other prophecies. It is important to note the existence of nuclear weapons in North Korea and Pakistan. I was emphasizing this so strongly long before anyone else. I was trying to urge people from the 90s to keep North Korea and China from developing their nuclear arsenals. I spoke out very loudly against Arm & Hammer's protege Al Gore and Bill Clinton transferring nuclear technology to China. I was hollering about Israel providing China with our missile technology, and I was saying that they were setting us up so that the Chinese could exterminate us. And I was the only one doing it. I was called a racist, and I was viciously attacked for it all over the internet. It is important to note the existence of nuclear weapons in North Korea and Pakistan affords Zionists the opportunity to conduct a false flag attack and blame it on these nations. At any point, they could drop a bomb on India and blame it on Pakistan. They could drop a bomb on Pakistan and blame it on India, and we got a nuclear war going. They don't really have a means of determining exactly what warheads are on what missiles at any time. A false flag attack or a real attack could be perpetrated, and they are on edge, and they may try to launch a strike based on a miscalculation. This is a tremendously dangerous situation for the entire world. I was warning about that in 2006. I'm warning about that in 2025. I should just run through this. I wrote, what's the date on this? It was around September 25th, 2006. The Iranian people should allow inspection of their nuclear facilities by Russia, Pakistan, China, Syria, France, and the United States, provided that Israel allow inspection of its nuclear facilities, including its nuclear weapons facilities, by the same nations. Jews helped the Russians, the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Chinese, and the Koreans to develop nuclear weapons in the hopes that these people could eventually be provoked to destroy one another so as to make it easier for the Jews in the end times to kill off Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, and Hindus. Those Hindus who take advantage of Jewish hatred and Jewish power to attack the Muslims and indulge their egos with self-promotion are in fact helping Jewish leadership to foment wars which will eventually kill off hundreds of millions of Hindus. There was no other human being on God's green earth talking about this in 2006. Now it's happening. Do you see that I have this ability to anticipate what's coming? Pay attention to that. I'm not glorifying myself. This is not self-praise. I am sounding the alarm as I have continually been doing 24/7, 7 days a week, year after year, these 20 years, at great expense to myself, putting up with smearmongers, liars, thieves, intelligence agencies trying to berate me, censorship, social media deboosting me, trying to silence me, all these people trying to steal my thunder and redirect you onto a false path that will lead to our destruction, combating all the defeatists, all the liars, all the thieves. And I've done this as a tremendous self-sacrifice for your benefit. And if you want to benefit from this knowledge, we have to act, and we have to act now. The window of opportunity is closing. All the things I predicted are happening. The rise of a Nazi movement in America. I called all this 20 years ago. I said they were going to set this up. I explained how it's a trap. You can see that I was the only person on the face of the entire globe who was warning you about the events that are happening as I speak. No one else on the entire earth was trying to save humanity from this but me. And the price I paid was to be universally attacked for it, to let people into my home, people who turned out to be thieves and stole from me, and then said that I'm not giving them enough by allowing them to steal from me. The Zionist traitor George Bush is engaging in a farce diplomacy of pre-planned impasse, as are the North Koreans. This game of chicken is engineered to end up in a collision. It would be well for the United States to have India, Pakistan, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea on our side working for peace. But peace we cannot have when the treasonous Bush regime is heading for war on all fronts and is deliberately ruining the goodwill of our former friends around the world. I was warning that they were blackening the name of America and making America a pariah state, and that George Bush was doing that, and now Donald Trump's doing the exact same stuff. And I've been warning about Donald Trump doing that for 10 years. They are training U.S. soldiers to abuse and degrade Iraqis and Afghanistanis and to hate all Muslims, Arabs, Persians, Turks, Pakistanis, etc., so that the U.S. soldiers will kill civilian populations without regard to normal human standards of decency, as the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians. China, Pakistan, India, and Russia are uniting for self-defense. They will discover that they do not need America as a mill through which to produce their wealth, as was the case in the past. If you go through my archive, I predicted that BRICS would emerge as a economic bloc and would develop its own currency to try to threaten the American dollar. I gave the exact nations of BRICS, and I said that was coming. I said all that years before BRICS emerged, and I was the only person on earth who said all that. The Zionists are preparing a massive naval campaign against Iran, which is why they have placed a Navy admiral in charge of CENTCOM, and I helped head off and prevent that war against Iran. This naval force will also provide a sea-based platform for attacks on other Persian Gulf nations, as well as a center for launching nuclear strikes against Pakistan and India, which the Zionists will blame on India and Pakistan, perhaps communist China and Russia as well, so as to provoke them into annihilating each other. Again, I say there's a strong danger that America or Israel or some other power could lob a nuclear weapon into either India or Pakistan to kick off a nuclear exchange between them. That is a very real threat. That is the type of stuff that they regularly do. Turks, Kurds, Armenians, and Pakistanis are also on their short list. With peace in the Middle East, vast amounts of investment capital from around the world will flow into Muslim nations. Trade will grow as never before. India and Pakistan will flower, and no one will want to spoil the peace once they learn that it was the Zionists who were behind the strife from the beginning. All throughout this period, I was telling people exactly what needs to be done to generate peace and prosperity for all of humanity. And none of these people ever wanted to discuss my solutions. No one in the alternative media, no one in the mainstream media ever wanted to get me on and have me explain the solutions as to what to do about all this. And that remains the case. And again, I am the only one who's been providing solutions for 30 years consistently, over and over again, very insightful things that could have prevented everything that's happening and gotten us on the proper course, and no one in the world wanted to help with it. And then these lying scumbags try to say I don't provide solutions when I'm the only one who does. And viable, good, sound solutions. The press is reporting that the U.S. is using intimidation tactics to coerce Pakistan's president, Pervez Musharraf. This establishes the fact that the nations of the world composing the United Nations are under threat. Again, I was the only one talking about Pakistan in terms of the enemy. And now we see how important what I was saying is. The UN does not attack Israel, India, or Pakistan for their nuclear programs, but does attack Iran for exercising its lawful rights under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty to enrich uranium for peaceful purposes. Pakistan President Pervez Musharraf, who recently participated in a campaign to unite Muslim nations and who opposes an aggressive Zionist attack on Iran, now faces political upheaval. We should have been paying much more attention to Pakistan all along. And they had the nuclear weapons that could have been transferred to Iran to prevent an attack by Israel on Iran. Our military has its hand full with Iraq, Afghanistan, and very soon Pakistan. If you believe that Jewish-inspired revolution and secession bear beautiful fruits, look to the Soviet Union under Trotsky and Kaganovich, Communist China under Mao, North Vietnam under Min, North Korea under Kim Jong-il, India, Pakistan, Cambodia under Pol Pot, etc., and you will observe the horrors of Jewish puppet dictatorships, which often begin as revolutions and secessionist movements. I was the only one explaining that these secessionist movements were being provoked by the Russians, that Ron Paul was involved with the Russians, that they were trying to set us up like they had done with Montreal and Quebec and Catalonia in Spain to try to balkanize us and pit us against one another. I explained how India and Pakistan were carved out of India so that they could be used to eventually gin up a brothers' war, and I'm the only one on earth who's been doing that for 20 years. So pay attention. And again, I brought it up over and over again to try to alert and warn people about how all this was being set up. The Jewish genocide of Armenian Christians. I brought that up over and over again. And I exposed what grave danger the Armenian Christians remain in, and that the Jewish genocide is a process, an ongoing process. It did not end in 1914 or the 1920s. It continues, and they continue to be in imminent danger. And I warned that they were going to lose Nagorno-Karabakh to the aggressive Azeris. Provide a pretext for the Jewish-controlled media and Jewish-controlled politicians to gin up hatred towards Iran and Pakistan, as we see going on right now. As I alone forecast, the Israelis have become allies of the Indians. There is a staunch alliance to drag in America into that alliance. I predicted a long time ago that they were I pointed out that they were beginning to fill the media with Indians, and that the Indians would subvert America the way they had done to Toronto, Montreal, and London, the Canadians and the British, and that we had better guard against it, and that they would eventually enter into politics and subvert American politics the way they have subverted Canadian and English politics. I was warning about that 20 years ago, and I was the only one on earth doing that. Creating the conditions the Jews need to exterminate the Palestinians and attack Iran. I always warned that when these wars came up, they would begin to exterminate the Palestinians, just as they are doing today. Provoking revolutions in Egypt, etc. The Pakistani Muslims and Indian Hindus have shed enough of each other's blood for you to make yourself look ridiculous when you seek to make yourself out to be the paragon of virtue. I was arguing, I think, with a Pakistani who was criticizing me. And again, I was calling attention to the fact that the Pakistani Muslims and Indian Hindus are created enemies out of the same people, of the same blood, to gin up eventually these brothers' wars. Just the way that Stalin did his population transfers, just the way Sykes-Picot and other treaties set up all these fault lines in the Middle East to gin up these eventual wars between Sunnis and Shias and Kurds, Turks and Armenians, etc. I've been talking about this endlessly. People need to pay attention. And I was trying to provide solutions. On the other hand, if Turks, Egyptians, Iraqis, Saudis, Pakistanis, etc., become the strongest nationalistic Turks, Egyptians, Iraqis, Saudis, Pakistanis, etc., they can become and then unite in ways which strengthen their selfish national interests, then they can become a strong force to challenge the Jews and help Americans to undo and eliminate Jewish influence. I was always seeking solutions, but nobody wanted to talk about it. Let's see, what is this? Jewish false flag blowback from the coming attack on Iran. Undoubtedly, some such Iranian counterattacks will occur, but the majorities of these supposedly Iranian attacks will instead be false flag attacks by Jews on Americans, Arabs, and Europeans. The Jews will dump dirty bombs on us and attack nuclear facilities to poison us, and the Jews will blame the Iranians for these attacks. This will quench the Jewish bloodlust to murder us, and it will be intended to drive us to drop nuclear bombs on Iran. This could easily lead to a nuclear exchange between India and Pakistan, and quite quickly lead to the Jews' planned global nuclear war. I believe there's potential for these false flags. I also believe that I have headed them off up till now by warning people about this and creating an awareness that doesn't enable them to attempt to do these things. Because if people anticipate that this is what they are planning and this is what they are setting up, they realize that they can't get away with it, and it prevents it. So a lot of my predictions are preventative and have been effective in preventing these things. But we have to constantly be on guard that this is their modus operandi. These are their methods, and they have all these plans in place. They have all the apparatus in place. The CIA very famously said that Israel has the ability to pose as Palestinians to engage in false flag terrorism. And they've been doing it over and over again for their entire existence. Again, let's see, when was it? On or about January 10th, 2013. Iranian attacks will instead be false flags attacks by Jews. This will quench the Jewish bloodlust to murder us, and it will be intended to drive us to drop nuclear bombs on Iran. This could easily lead to a nuclear exchange between India and Pakistan, and quite likely lead to the Jews' planned global nuclear war. I was the only one talking about how Fukushima had been predicted and set about by the enemy. It will be enough to effectively nuke Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India, and to provoke Pakistan and India to nuke each other. And then there is China and Russia. I have been warning consistently, and been the only one warning consistently, that they're going to try to set up a nuclear war between Pakistan and Iran and India, that India would become the ally of Israel, and China the ally of Pakistan. I foresaw all this 20 years ago. Nobody gives me credit for all these things. Instead, they try to steal credit from me. And it's important that I receive credit so that people take these things seriously and understand the imminent danger that all of humanity is presently. As I predicted would happen, things are heating up between Pakistan and India. The Jews want to chop off the head of Hindus for their idol worship, and we see this taking place. Israel has so weakened the Middle East that it does not need USA to attack Iran. This was January 8th, 2013. I have been 100% consistent with the exact same message, unlike everyone in the alternative media, everyone in the mainstream media. I have been unfaltering, unwaveringly, truthfully telling you exactly what to expect for 20 years. Why is that important? Because I'm telling you what to expect now, and what to expect now is that they are about to pull the trigger and try to exterminate humanity. The Americans are scheduled to leave Afghanistan. I predicted back then that the Americans would leave Afghanistan, just as they did under Joe Biden. And as I predicted, the Jews are destabilizing Pakistan and leading Pakistan to war with India. This prevents Pakistani intervention in an Israeli war on Iran and aims their nuclear weapons at India, tying them up so that they won't be used elsewhere. It also provides a trigger for a nuclear World War III. I was warning you people exactly what was coming, and I got no help. The Americans are scheduled to leave Afghanistan, and as I predicted, the Jews are destabilizing Pakistan and leading Pakistan to war with India. This prevents Pakistani intervention in an Israeli war on Iran and aims their nuclear weapons at India, tying them up so that they won't be used elsewhere, as in targeting Israel. It also provides a trigger for nuclear World War III. That's what's going on today. Israel is aligned with India, as I said would happen. They are setting up to attack Iran, as I said would happen. And this is happening in conjunction, as I predicted would happen, so that Pakistan can do nothing to safeguard and ally with Iran, because it will be under attack from India. I gave you their game plan. I told you what would happen. And when was this? January 16th, 2013. You can find this archive, which I posted on the web in 2013, more than probably around 12 years ago. And you can find these blogs in the Wayback Machine as well. I also predicted, and was the only one on earth to predict, that the Chinese would gain control over Japan, as Trump is making happen today. I predicted this in 2013. I gave the world 12 years warning to do something about it and head it off. But nobody would fucking listen. Nobody would help. All I got was ridicule, scorn, smear campaigns, and plagiarism of my work to redirect it in a defeatist direction. The body of the snake will wag its tail and scatter Africans and Asians around the globe. Sound familiar? Chasing them into Europe, the USA, and Canada. Sinai and Gaza will become part of Judea. And then the Jews will claim Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, etc., expanding into greater Israel. Japan will increasingly cede control to China, and Pakistan will attack the idolatrous Hindus of India on behalf of the Jews. And we saw that Pakistani terrorists under the direction of Mossad just attacked India. We see that Trump is driving Japan into the Chinese fold. We see that they have claimed Syria, are trying to claim southern Lebanon, and will claim parts of Saudi Arabia, expanding into greater Israel. I told you exactly what was coming, and I was the only one on the entire earth who did, and I am the only one on the entire earth telling you what's coming next. And Adam Green would not be able to echo, mirror, smear, and parrot my work were I not to say it first. He's a moron who can't come up with original thoughts, and all he is there to do is steal my thunder and lead you in the wrong direction. But I have the track record. This was years before anyone had heard of that worm, Adam Green. And I told you exactly what to expect. I gave you time to prepare. I gave everyone in the world time to head all this off, and no one did a goddamn thing to help me. When Turkey and the Saudis squeeze Syria as they just did, which direction do you think the blood will flow? Towards Israel or towards Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan? Notice that I was the one, not Lucas Gage, who started using lowercase j's for Jews and Jewish. That was my idea, not his idea. And I was doing that 12 years ago and before. And I did that in some of my books, and it used to really, really piss off the enemy that I was lowering them the status of being the lowercase letter. And I did it because they would often write Gentile with a lower G. And they ensured that the God of Israel was always a capital G, and that the other gods were lowercase g's. So I had the insight to invert all that and to start writing Jew with a lowercase j and Jewish with a lowercase j, and the God of Israel with a lowercase g, and the gods of the Romans and the Egyptians and the Greeks with an uppercase g. And that really set them off. I eventually gave up on it because in editing my books and my articles, etc., I would sometimes slip out of habit and write with a capital J instead of a lowercase j. And I didn't want that inconsistency in my work, but that was my idea, and nobody gives me credit for it, like everything I do. They will also always subvert the interests and sovereignty of the host people. When Turkey and Saudi squeeze Syria, as they've done, which direction do you think the blood will flow? Towards Israel or towards Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan? We're now in the Pakistan phase. If the Jews, lowercase j, my idea, if the Jews succeed in igniting a nuclear war between Pakistan and India, then all bets are off. Iran has very limited means to strike back at Israel. The Saudi leaders are crypto Jews. I was saying that since 2006, and I was the only one saying it in 2006, and I've been saying it consistently. Mohammed bin Salman has revealed that his mother was a Jew. It is now well known that the House of Saud are crypto Jews, but I was the one who revealed it to the world in 2006. Turkey will help guard Israel and the skies over Iraq and Syria. I predicted that the Sunni Muslims would guard the airspace from attacks against Iran back in 2013. Nobody else was talking about this. And that's exactly what happened when Iran started to strike at Israel. We saw Jordan and Iraq intercepting missiles coming out of Iran. I foresaw all of that. I foresaw that the Sunnis would side with the Jews. I warned you that the leaders of Saudi Arabia are Jews. Israel can hurt Iran but not destroy it. They must know that they have the absolute ability to bring in the U.S. and Turkey once the conflict begins. It cannot be their objective to merely destroy Iran's Air Force and bomb its facilities. If you're interested in all this, you're welcome to look up my art blogs, jewishlacism.blogspot.com archive on archive.org. Like my book, The Manufacture and Sale of St. Einstein, this is also a tremendous resource, which is why they took it off the web again and again. I was able to get it reinstated a few times, and now it's been permanently deleted, but it's still available on the Wayback Machine, each individual blog post. And this archive from 2006 to 2013 is available on archive.org. You can search it for keywords, as I'm doing right now for Pakistan, and you will find it a tremendous resource, much better than listening to that moron Adam Green babble his mouth off as he tries his best to parrot my words as closely as he can. Better wake up fast, Muslims of Indonesia, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. You're next on the Jews' hit list. I was warning them. And you know, one of the things that really bites my ass and has from the beginning of this, I've done so much for Muslims. For 20 years, I've done so much for the Muslim people. And they give very, very little back. They show almost no appreciation. It's been probably fewer than 3 people in the whole time I've been doing this who even lent a hint of support from what I've been doing for them. And I've seen this with all the other whites of the West who have sacrificed themselves for the good of Arabs and Muslims, for the good of Iranians. They give not a goddamn thing back. They never support us. They never help us. They never fund us. All they do is take. They never give anything back. And their ultimate aim is to destroy us. And I'm really fed up with that. And I want to point that out. And it's not just something that I've experienced. It's been the whole community of people trying to help those people. They never do a damn thing to try to help us back or even acknowledge and thank us for what I and others have done. They're most often trying to be critical and saying either that we're not doing enough or that we're to blame. It's disgusting how little appreciation they show for the self-sacrifice that I and others have done. They're really a horrible ally to have. It's much better to stick with Europeans and unite behind European peoples. It's always been the white Europeans who have been the most supportive and helpful of what I've been doing. And I'm not trying to put other people down. I'm just stating the facts as I've experienced them and I have witnessed them with other people. This is a very tribal conflict, and there's no way around it. And we have to recognize that and preserve ourselves and fight for ourselves and not sacrifice ourselves for other people who will do nothing for us but attempt to destroy us. And that doesn't mean we're out to do them any harm. We're only out to prevent them from being pitted against us and harm us. And we should not be sacrificing all our resources to benefit them, but should be looking out for our own self-interest much more than we've been doing. The Jews are setting up a war between India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, which will genocide those Muslims. The Jews, notice the small j, that's mine. The Jews are also readying to unleash China on the world, which will attack Indonesia and Australia and the whites and Muslims in those former nations, as well as finishing off our ally, the Japanese, once and for all. I warned you about it. It's coming. Israel will also likely detonate a nuclear bomb over a densely populated Indian city and scapegoat Pakistan for the attack. It's the small J's. I had a strong sense that they were going to try to pull off a false flag between India and Pakistan for a very long time. Iranians would be well served to turn to the Muslims of Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Malaysia, etc., as well as those in the Middle East. There are 1.5 billion Muslims worldwide, but unfortunately, the Ummah, the Muslim community, does nothing to help and only spits on those of us who try to help them. Christians and Muslims have effectively surrendered their age-old claim on the city of Jerusalem. I'm going to get into that when I discuss my insights, not Adam Green's plagiarism, my insights into Armilus and Messiah, son of Joseph, and what the prophecies say are coming, which are their plans. The hundreds of millions of Eastern Muslims have done absolutely nothing as Muslim nation after nation has been destroyed in the Middle East, Africa, and Afghanistan, soon to be Pakistan. Muslims will do nothing as the Jews take all of Jerusalem and destroy the Dome of the Rock to erect a temple to the devil. Christians will do nothing but lend their support. Netanyahu is prodding these groups to condition them to being whipped and herded. But it would be in Israel's best interest to take down Hezbollah and destabilize Lebanon before bombing Iran. Well, I sure got that one right too, didn't I? They just destabilized Lebanon and are preparing to attack Iran. How is it that I get this right time after time, every single time, with exact precision and with 100% accuracy? Ask yourselves that and heed my warnings of what's coming next. The Jews have pitted Pakistan and India against each other, the Chinese against themselves, the Koreans against themselves, China versus Hong Kong and Taiwan, North and South Korea, Chinese against Imperial Japanese and Imperial Japanese against Chinese. And now Trump is leading the Japanese into the fold of the Chinese. Africa and South America are sparsely populated and militarily weak. They are now vastly growing the population of Black Africans. If the white nations agree to protect each other rather than threaten to annihilate each other, we can secure the future of whites for the foreseeable future, and we can completely solve that problem. We must act now to secure the nuclear weapons in white hands and protect and reestablish the demographic integrity of white nations. Again, I and I alone was providing the solutions to what we needed to do to prevent everything that is happening today from happening. And now it's happening because no one helped. There should be an international effort to resolve tensions between India and Pakistan and between Shia and Sunni Muslims. February 17th, 2013, more than 12 years ago, and I'm saying the exact words again today. And I have been saying the exact words for the past 2 weeks as this crisis has evolved this engineered crisis between Pakistan and India. I've been the only one saying the international community has to get together and make an effort to prevent war between India and Pakistan. Again, I'm the real guy. I'm the one who has consistently been saying the same things over and over again for decades. I'm the only one in alternative media and mainstream media who has been forecasting with precision, 100% accuracy, what is coming, what needs to be done about it to prevent it, and the need to act to save ourselves from it. I'm the only genuine one out there. All the other people are either told what to say or are deliberately lying to you or are incompetent and don't understand any of this. The genocidal lower cases are trying to stir up a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. The lower cases also want to pit Shia and Sunni Muslims against each other. This is the war between the Iranians and the Arabs, between the Yemenis and the Arabs, between Hezbollah and the Arabs. The Mossad is committing false flag terrorism to create and intensify conflicts among these groups. Who else was warning about this in 2013? And it's happening right now. Politicians in India and Pakistan are exploiting and compounding antagonisms between Muslims and Hindus to increase their power and popularity. Religious leaders abandon their principles and cry out for human blood. The situation threatens to erupt into a nuclear war. Indians and Pakistanis have too much invested in destroying each other to arrive at an equitable and lasting solution on their own. Indians and Pakistanis, Sunnis and Shias need a forum to air their grievances and propose their solutions in a neutral and relatively calm environment. World peace depends upon the resolution of these growing conflicts, and all of us have a vested interest in solving these problems. I propose a summit of religious and academic leaders be held on neutral ground at some university. Students from around the world should gather together with academic and religious leaders and discuss the situation and propose equitable solutions. The governments have failed. The people ought to try their hand at maintaining the peace. The lower cases will try to dominate and scuttle any such effort. The wretched Mossad will try to false flag terrorize it. Perhaps an online event could open the door to more direct talks. We must insist that the governments of the world put an end to the lower cases false flag terrorism. Israel has to be contained and constrained. In the meantime, men and women of goodwill must do what they can to create productive dialogue between Pakistanis, Hindus, Sunni, and Shia. The fate of mankind depends upon our success. How dare the lowlife say that I don't promote solutions? I'm the only one in the world who does. I'm the only one in the world who's been correctly assessing the situation for decades and providing the appropriate solutions. North Africans and Middle Easterners will be forced to migrate into Europe, not only colonizing it, but becoming the majority population together with an influx of Chinese, Pakistanis, and Indians. I have been warning about this for many, many years, and I am the only one doing so. Sound familiar? I and I alone was saying the exact same thing 12 years ago that I am saying today. That is proof to you of my genuineness and my sincerity. I am not one of these people who flip-flops every week to try to grift and gain more followers. I say what I know to be true, and I know the truth, and I'm the only one in the world who's been telling you the truth for decades, unwaveringly, with 100% consistency. I am saying the precise same words today that I was saying those 12 years ago. They were true then, they are true now. I assessed the situation properly then, and I am assessing the situation properly now, and I'm the only person on earth doing it. Mossad is actively trying to provoke nuclear war in Korea, Pakistan, India, China, Russia, and the USA. So I am obligated by his heinous actions to again expose the fact that Adam Green is pretending to be me. He's a grifter, a liar, and a plagiarist who continues to rip off my work. He gets all excited when he does it. I don't want him doing it. I want him to stop doing it. I encourage you to join me. Oh, look how excited he is. To tell him to knock it off. It's disgusting. It's unfair. It is stealing from me. And he is obviously controlled opposition, a Judas goat, a Pied Piper, a habitual defeatist, attacking Christians viciously with this weird, perverse cult he has. And I want it to end. If he continues to do it, I'm going to continue to expose the scumbag. And I'm sorry that all you people have to go through it. If you don't want to go through it, then help me in exposing this fraud and completely discrediting this clown who nonstop parrots my words and my work and pretends that he has the right to rip off my work and profit from it with his grift and his sick, perverse cult. I don't want to end on that note, though. I want to remind you that I saw the future. From my heart, I reached out to all humanity. I told all humanity as best I could exactly what was coming and exactly what had to be done to prevent that. The messianic, apocalyptic horrors that they are inflicting on humanity today. I warned you back then that they would try to gin up another Nazi movement, as they always do. I warned you that they were setting up with China against the U.S., that they were going to pit us against one another so that we mutually destroyed each other. And in the context of what I said about to discuss today, I warned you that they would make Israel an ally of India and gin up a war between Pakistan and India. I want you to know who is behind all this. It is the eternal enemy of humanity, and their ultimate aim is to exterminate us. And we need to act right now to bring an end to it. If you would like to support my work, in addition to exposing that scumbag, that vile, wretched worm, Adam Green, you can help by contributing. I have links at my website, CJBbooks.com, where you can contribute. I have a buy me a coffee option. I'm grateful to all the good people who have. I have PayPal links and cryptocurrency links, and I want to thank all the people who have helped me tremendously. I wish I had had so much support over the course of these entire 30 years of bringing all this to you for free. If you want to keep me going, please do contribute. I very much need your help. I need dental work desperately. And I really wish I didn't have to waste time on that, whatever you want to call him, Adam Green. Get him out of my life. I'm sick of that leech, that parasite. on my neck, perpetually ripping off my work. And we got to stop this war between Pakistan and India. I've given you the historical context. The premier expert in all this is proven by the fact that I forecast exactly how it would go down, exactly the players who were involved. No one in the world had any of these insights but me. Pay attention to that. That's not self-glorification. I'm telling you that because I'm telling you now what's coming next. And it won't be for 20 years. We don't have much time left. So again, I want to thank my contributors. I want to thank everyone for watching. Beware the world to come. I will see all you good people next time. Goodbye for now.